Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of Monday Live by 𝐼𝐨𝐽𝐲. For today's session, I am your host, Orpa. To give you an enlightening speech and answer all of your questions, we have our principal and founding attorney, Mr. Raju Mahajan, with us. So let me welcome Mr. Raju Mahajan to this week's Monday Live.
Thank you very much, Arpa, for hosting this event. And thank you all of our audiences who are watching our show at this moment, like live broadcasting, and also who will watch later from our different platforms.
Hello, Mr. Mahajan. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm also good. So, for today's topic, Mr. Mahajan, we have EB1 for STEM professionals. So, do you have anything to say on this topic?
Yes, I'm well prepared to discuss this matter today. And by the way, after this, after my presentation, we will answer questions from our audience. So if you have any question, you can write your question in our Facebook, YouTube, or any LinkedIn platform, and we will be able to answer. I'll be able to answer your questions. And after this session, if you have any other question, feel free to email us. Our website, our phone number, our email address, everything is mentioned here. Feel free to reach out to us, and then we'll definitely try to answer your questions, concerns, and everything. So without further delay, I would like to start my presentation. Admin, can you please share my presentation? All right. Thank you very much. So our today's topic is EB1A green card for STEM professionals. First of all, let me explain what is EB1A, and then I'll explain what is the STEM, and then I'll go to the presentation. So, many of you already know that America has different immigrant and non-immigrant intent applications. EB1A is part of EB1 categories, which is under the bigger umbrella of EB, employment based, and EB1 is literally the topmost, like in the highest level of green card application. That's why many people call it Einstein visa, because to be qualified for EB1A, you have to be an extraordinary person in your field. That's why, people call it Einstein visa. This is really the most prestigious green card you can ever get from America. Many people, you already know that. If you do not know, we have other videos about EB1, EB1A. You can learn more about those. Also, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. In general, like science students who come to America for master's, PhD, or even if you got your PhD or master's from foreign countries, if you are really extraordinary person in your field, if you are a STEM professionals, you can definitely qualify and apply for EB1A. And EB1A green card application is the fastest green card application also. So many people take advantage of EB1A. That's why we are talking about EB1A specifically for STEM professionals today. Next slide, please. All right. So, as I said, there are certain positive things, certain very good things about EB1A application. Number one, this particular application is designed for individuals with extraordinary ability. So if you have extraordinary ability in any field, it can be science, technology, engineering, mathematics, or sports. Like, for example, you can, if you are like a very famous, a soccer player, football player, cricket player, or any kind of sports, or if you are involved with entertainment industry, like if you're a movie star, like, singer, cinematographer, editor, in any kind of art. So it can be art, business, sports, or any field. But today we are going to talk about STEM professionals. So this one is designed for individuals with extraordinary ability. Also, this is a self-sponsorship application, meaning you do not need a sponsor, you do not need a job, or you do not need a sponsorship from anybody. You can do it by yourself, of course with the help of an attorney, but you can do it yourself. Another one is the waiting period for EB1A is shorter. In fact, probably the shortest in any kind of EB categories. And I'm not going that detail about this waiting period. Many of you already know that it depends on visa bulletin. Every month, Department of State publishes visa bulletin, and depending on the latest visa bulletin, there is a certain number of waiting periods. However, EB1A has the shortest waiting period. And if you do not know what is visa bulletin, if you want to know more about visa bulletin, we have other videos about visa bulletin. I advise you to watch those videos. But just for today's purpose, just keep in mind that EB1A is probably the shortest waiting period application for green cards. Next slide, please. All right. So, but what does extraordinary ability for STEM professionals really mean? So what is extraordinary ability? So, for STEM professionals, this means you have reached the pinnacle of your field, whether by developing innovative technologies, spearheading cutting edge research, or making significant contributions that are recognized at the national or international level. So this national or international level, this is really significant because many times what you did is probably significant for a local community, but it's not like a national or international level kind of achievement. So it must be a national or international level achievements. Many people misunderstand these requirements. Also, eligible candidates often include research, includes researchers with a strong record of peer-reviewed publication, inventors holding multiple patents, scholarly articles in reputed journals, and leaders driving advancements in technology. So these are like one of the most common applicants for EB1A applications. Next slide, please. This is the continuation of the previous slide. However, you do not need to be a household name to qualify. Meaning, if you are a very famous cricket player, pretty much everybody who follows cricket knows you. If you are a very famous singer, if you're a very famous actor, actress, a lot of people know you. On the other hand, in the science field, science, technology, engineering, math, it's really difficult to be a household name because most of the people, they even do not follow science technology field, right? Even a lot of like a Nobel laureate, many people, they even don't know them, even though they have like a very, very significant contribution in their field. So for the STEM professionals, I get this question all the time, hey, do I have to be like a really, really celebrity in this field? Do I have to be a name in the household? The answer is no. You do not have to be celebrity because it's very, very difficult to be a celebrity in STEM fields. So as I said, many specialists in niche STEM fields can also be eligible, provided they can demonstrate the exceptional impact of their work. Even though you're not like a celebrity, even though you're not a household name, but your achievement must be demonstrated with exceptional impact of their work. Next point is the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, USCIS, the organization who oversees American immigration system. They have defined, outlined 10 criteria, and you need to meet at least 3 of those criteria. However, let me tell you, even though officially, if you qualify for 3 of the 10 criteria, you can apply for EB1A, but I recommend my clients to meet at least 5 because a lot of time, we say that you meet this criteria, and then USCIS will say, no, you do not meet this criteria. Your evidences are not strong enough. So even though if they do not accept 1 or 2 criteria, if you want to keep your application stronger, still accepted by USCIS, I advise you to meet at least 5 criteria before you apply for EB1A. I will explain more in the next slide. So. Just stay with us. Next slide, please. All right, the number 1 is national or international recognized prizes or awards for excellence in the field. The significance of these awards, along with their national or international standing, must be considered. So there are many awards, but not all awards are significant awards. Not all awards are nationally or internationally recognized. So the award you are receiving, the award you are claiming in your EB1A application must be significant enough in national or international level. For example, an innovation award from a global tech organization for groundbreaking work in AI development, that can be a recognized award for the purpose of EB1A application. However, please note that there are some predatory awards or those requiring payments for certification like GRA or ISSN awards may hold significantly less weight. So there are a lot of awards. To get those awards to be qualified, you have to pay them money. And also their selection procedure is not very transparent. Their selection criteria are not very well established. Those awards will carry less weight compared to nationally or internationally reputed awards. For the EB1A, compared to prestigious global or national awards in STEM fields, it is important to focus on recognized achievements that demonstrate true excellence in your field. I will discuss this later again, but let me tell you one sentence. It's not about the quantity of awards, rather quality of the awards. Let's say you have a very reputed, recognized one award, which is better than 10 kind of fishy, predatory awards, right? So if you receive one good award, which is better than 10 not good awards, I'll explain later, but just keep that in mind when you think of EB1A. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the continuation of the previous. So student level awards are generally excluded, meaning you'll see a lot of awards for students. Like even if you're a PhD student, let's say you received best paper from your lab for the year 2024. This kind of student level awards, these are not actually national or international level awards. These are more of a student awards, just to encourage the students to pay attention to their study and other things. So these are not nationally or internationally recognized awards. Just keep in mind that student level awards are generally excluded. There can be some exceptions. Of course, there's exceptions everywhere, but generally these are excluded. Next slide, please. All right. Membership in associations. This is another criteria. This is the second criteria. So membership criteria requires thorough documentation and proof of exceptional achievements recognized by national or international experts in the field. There are literally thousands and thousands of organizations. You can easily be member of those organizations. None of those organizations will be helpful for EB1A application. Membership criteria requires thorough documentation and proof of exceptional achievements recognized by national or international experts in your field. So please, pay attention to every word because these are important. General membership in organizations like IEEE or BCS are not sufficient because you can easily be members. So anybody who studies electrical engineering or computer engineering can just go and apply for IEEE membership and they will get it. So general membership of IEEE or BCS carries no value at all because anybody can be a member of those organizations. Similarly, paid membership or membership acquired through without any competitive selection process is not acceptable for EB1A. There's membership, that if you just pay them money, they will give you membership. There are some membership, it's not any, they are not selected through any competitive process. Those are not helpful for EB1A. You can definitely get those. You can write those in your CV, in your resume, but those are not going to help you in any way, especially not for EB1A. Next slide, please. On the other hand, elite memberships like fellow at IEEE or BCS that are granted to only a few based on merit are more appropriate with proper documentation. So bottom line is, if you just want to take one sentence from this criteria, is the membership must be an elite membership. There must be a selection procedure. Not everybody will be eligible for this membership. If everybody is eligible for this membership, that is not going to help you. So it must be a membership that only a few based on merit can acquire, especially with proper documentation. So this proper documentation part is also important. You may be a member of a very elite organization. However, if you do not have any documentation, it would be very difficult for us to establish your case to USCIS because law is all about evidence. If we cannot submit evidence, it's very difficult for us to establish a case. So please pay attention to this proper documentation part too. Furthermore, organizations like trade unions or provincial, local membership do not meet the criteria either. So if you're a member of a trade union or any professional association, that everybody in that profession can be a member, and also some local membership, those are not helpful for EB1A. Next slide, please. All right. Published material about her work in professional or major trade publications or other major media. This is another criteria. This criteria is comparatively easier to establish and can be considered a sure shot for people with STEM background. Only two key points need to be established here. Number one is the reputation, circulation number, and ranking of the trade publication media. Number two, the published material directly talks about the petitioner and his work. So, like awards, there are literally millions of publications, millions of journals. So not all journals, not all publications are good for EB1A application. The reputation, circulation number, and ranking of those trade publication media are really important. And also, the published material must directly talk about the petitioner and his work. So this is a very tricky part. So let's say you were part of a group who did a significant achievement about, let's say, a STEM, one of the STEM fields. And then the publication is about the actual work that you did as a group, and your contribution was almost nothing. Like you were just barely involved with the group. So the publication do not mention about your name, any mention of your contribution to that work, but you claim that you're part of that. So it's very difficult for us to establish that you're part of that group. You did a significant contribution, and then this publication is about you and your work. So it must be connected, with USS officers. They're not like lawyers or judges. They're like, random regular people. We have to make them understand that this publication is about you and it's about your work. So you have to make this connection. Cannot be self-authored. This criteria in question strictly refers to third-party articles. So this is another very common question I receive almost every day about EB1A applications. So let's say you wrote about yourself, you wrote about your work, and you published in a newspaper. That is not going to meet about these criteria. These criteria must be from a third-party author. You cannot write it by yourself. It cannot be self-authored. There are other criteria where your journal article, your publication will carry some value, but not for this one. This one must be from a third-party authors. Next slide, please. Yeah, as I said, can you please go back? Cannot be. Okay, yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. I thought that there's another slide in between, but it's not. Okay. The next topic is judgment of the work of others, either individually or on a panel. This criteria can also be considered a sure shot if proper documentation can be provided. The key requirement of this segment are the invitation letter / email from the authority, evidence of participation such as a review report or a mark sheet, certificates, appreciation letter, emails, etc., which directly indicate the participation as a judge for others' work. So as I said, these are one of the very common criteria that most of the STEM professionals meet. However, you have to just have enough evidence so that we can officially claim it. Also, peer reviewer or editor of reputed journal publication meets this requirement too. So these are one of the common topic. Most STEM professionals, they publish journals. Also, sometimes they work as a peer reviewer for journal publications. Sometimes they're on the editorial board. If you are a peer reviewer for a journal, or if you're a member of the editorial board, you can claim that you have been invited as to judge work of others. You can easily meet this criteria. Next slide, please. All right, original scientific, scholarly, artistic, athletic, or business-related contribution of major significance in the field. This is another criteria that most of the STEM clients meet, but the documentation must be precise and authentic. For the STEM professionals, two key points need to be established. Number one, contribution must be an original creation of the petitioner. Number two, such contribution must be significant in the field with proper circulation report and experts in the field attesting to its impact. Good examples are having a patent or copyright, or the publication of a groundbreaking scholarly article in the field of expertise. So this is the article I said that this can be self-authored. This is your paper. You wrote it and then you published it. That's good. But the other one, media coverage, that must be from a third-party author. So this is also very self-descriptive. I'm not going into detail because most of the STEM professionals, you have publication and you already know everything about this. This is very easy to understand. Next slide, please. All right, evidence of his/her authorship of scholarly articles. This is another sure shot criteria that almost all STEM clients meet. So again, I'm not going that detail about this. You already have scholarly articles, so you're good. Next slide, please. Display of his/her work in the field of artistic exhibitions or showcase. So STEM clients do not always meet this requirement of this criteria, because basically this criteria is basically for artists. If you are a cricket player, if you are a painter, if you're a photographer, if you're a movie star, this is basically for those kind of celebrities. But however, STEM professionals can meet it too in certain circumstances. Let me tell you how you can meet it. However, it can include any conference, public speaking events, or showcase of scientific, artistic contribution in the field. In such cases, proper, precise documentation is required to establish the criteria. So even though you are STEM professionals, you can still meet it if it is a conference, public speaking event, or showcase of scientific, artistic contribution to the field. However, those contributions, those presentations must be must have proper, precise documentation. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for us to write petition in a way that your petition will meet this criteria. Next slide, please. All right. Performed a leading or critical role for organization. So to meet this criteria, it really needs to be leading or critical, not just a membership of an organization. Sometimes people come to me and say, hey, I'm a member of that organization, I meet this criteria. No, to meet this criteria, it must be a leading or critical role. This criteria is one of the most challenging, as I said, particularly for STEM clients due to its complex requirements. The organization must have a strong reputation in the field, which cannot be fabricated. Must be leading or critical to the organization's reputation, financial, social, or other interest. As I said, it must be leading or critical. Now, if you ask me what is leading or critical, that's another discussion. But whatever you think a regular person will understand for leading or critical, you can just follow that thing. Also, evidence is key for this criteria, and some form of evidence are letter of recommendation, published materials about those organization and your contribution. Let's say a organization has a website, and you are one of the founding members of that organization, and in the website there is a section called Who We Are, and in the Who We Are section, they clearly mentioned your name and your contribution. Then you can meet this criteria. Also, you can get letter of recommendation from your senior members, your peer, and other people who can testify that your role was leading and critical, and not just mentioning leading or critical. If they mention what kind of leading or critical role you played in that organization, that will be really helpful. Next slide, please. High salary in relation to others in your field. This criteria needs concrete evidence of the petitioner receiving a comparatively high salary. Please pay attention to the word comparatively. The petitioner receiving a comparatively high salary than his/her peer in the same professional position within the same geographical area. This is another tricky part, same geographic area, because in America, in the same field, same position, someone living in California will make way more money than someone living in Texas. So when we compare, it must be within the same geographical location. Comparative salary data such as the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, as well as other private platform reports such as salary.com, ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, etc. are used as evidence to establish the petitioner's high salary. Most STEM professionals with significant experience in their field generally meet this requirement for this criteria. So if you have like a good degree from a reputed university, if you have a significant number of experience, especially with big tech corporations, you can easily meet this criteria, but it must be significantly higher than your peer. Next slide, please. All right, commercial success in the performing arts. Again, this is not for a STEM field. However, some of the STEM professionals, they meet this criteria. So this criteria is rarely met by STEM clients, of course. However, it can be established when the petitioner demonstrates commercial success through the commercialization of their scientific or scholarly creations. Examples include the publication of a book that achieved exceptional circulation and success, or is like if I give you the example of this book, there is a book by Stephen Hawking. I forget the name of the book, but that book was so famous. Pretty much every country in the world, they translated into their own language, and it was very popular all over the world. So that book can be a example of this, commercial success in the, in scientific, like a book kind of things. But let's say you published a book in theoretical physics, and some university professionals or students, they are reading it. That's not a big commercial success when it comes to like a book. Creation success or a software developer whose app gained millions. So this is also another common thing. Let's say you developed this app, and the app has been downloaded and used by millions of people. That's also example of commercial success. Or the commercialization of a patent or copyright that generates substantial revenue. That can also be evidence of commercial success. To establish this accomplishment, proper and precise documentation is required, such as agreements, contracts for commercialization, letters from publishers, receipt of sales, and other relevant supporting documents. Again, evidence is really, really important for anything in the legal world. So just, please pay attention to that. Next slide, please. All right, those are the 10 criteria. And as I said, you have to meet at least 3, but I recommend my clients to meet at least 5 before they apply for EB1A, because many times we will say, my client meets this criteria, and USCIS officer will say, no, he doesn't or she doesn't. So, even though they, denied 2 or 3 criteria, I want your case to still survive the EB1A application. That's why I recommend at least meeting 5, probably 6 is even better criteria before you submit your application to USCIS. Now, the question is how to build your case, how to get ready. Because a lot of time when clients come to me, their case is not ready to be submitted, or not even ready to start working. So I, as an attorney, I advise my clients to get ready before you submit your, even if you start working with the attorney, because you are spending significant amount of time, significant amount of money, energy. So after all this thing, if your case is not approved, it's just a waste of your time, money, and energy. So before, even if you go to a attorney, if you can prepare your case, build your case, and then if you go to attorney, then there's a bigger chance of getting it approved. So let me give you some tips how to build your case for EB1A. So begin by gathering all documentation that showcases your accomplishments. Make a list. I just give you 10 criteria, and you can just Google it. You will get it from USCIS website. Make a list like awards, and then write a short description of each awards that you received, including their website, their other information. Make a list, and then publish material about you. Make a list. And your original contribution, your judgment, your blah blah blah. So organize all of your information, documents, and other thing by the criteria, and see how good is your case is, and try to gather all the information, all the document, all the evidence before even go to an attorney. Ensure that each document is clear, credible, and verifiable. Verifiable is very important. A lot of the evidence, you can give it to us, we can give it to USCIS, but if USCIS cannot verify that document, it will carry almost no value at all. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have received an award from XYZ organization, and XYZ organization doesn't have any website, no digital presence, no presence at all. USCIS has no way to verify this. If they have no method of verification, they will just will not accept it as a achievement. So make sure each document is clear, credible, and verifiable. Strong recommendation letters from well-established professionals in your field are particularly crucial. Strong recommendation letters are very crucial. These letters should emphasize not only your achievement, but also their broader significance and impact on the industry. Ideally, you should obtain letters from senior researchers, industry leaders, or renowned academics who can attest to the importance of your contribution. Recommendation letters are not mandatory. Some attorneys will tell that, oh, it's not mandatory, you do not need recommendation letter. I respectfully disagree with them. Recommendation letters are, even though it's not mandatory, it's really, really important. So I strongly advise you to get recommendation letters from significant person in your field, and please follow this recommendation. That's why I am showing this PowerPoint presentation in this video so that you can read it and you can follow it. If you follow my presentation, I am very confident that your EB1 case will be significantly improved. Next slide, please. And this is my last slide for today's presentation. After this, I'm going to answer your questions. So it is it is vital to demonstrate that your work has had a national or international impact. Simply excelling in your local area is not enough. You must prove that your contributions resonate and make a difference on a broader scale. The quality of your achievements are the most crucial. As I told you in the beginning of this presentation, if you receive one very significant award, which is way better than receiving 10 less important awards. One significant award is way better than 10 less significant awards. So quality is very important compared to quantity. Please pay attention to the quality of your achievements. Try to avoid same achievements to meet multiple criteria. Sometimes some of our clients, so let's say you have published a journal in Nature, the scientific journal Nature or Science, and you want to show that as evidence of 3 different criteria, which is okay. Sometimes you can do that, but it's not very wise to do. If we do that, USCIS officer will think, this guy had no other things to show other than this one publication in Science journal or Nature journal. So try to avoid to show same achievements to meet multiple criteria. Try to show multiple achievements to meet multiple criteria. That will really, really help you. Last point, have your own website with good SEO. Because USCIS officers, as soon as they receive our application, they will Google your name. Because we are human, we are lazy, we do not want to do hard work. We want to do everything with shorter time. So they will search your name in Google, and if they find a good website with a very good looking, with SEO and all the latest technology, and if they find everything in one place, it will make them very happy. Of course, that's not end of everything. They will verify everything, but that will definitely going to help your case. So that was my short presentation about EB1A. It's a big topic. I can talk hours and hours, but that was our presentation today. I'm happy to answer any question if you have.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Mr. Mahajan. This was a very informative one, particularly. So now we are going to the questions that we have in our email. The first question is, I have received academic scholarships or research grants for my work. Do these qualify as awards?
In general, no. Anything related to academic, like if you receive it as a part of your education as a student, in general, no. However, there are some exceptional situations where academic achievements may be considered for EB1A, but those are exceptional situations. In general, no. But if you want to know more about this, please email us the name of the achievements. We will double check, we'll verify, and we will let you know if this can be presented as evidence for EB1A, but in general, no.
Okay. Do patents for my inventions help my case for EB1A?
Yes. Yes, but another information I should tell here, I forget to tell that in the previous presentation. So anything you show, it must be connected to your original application. So let's say you are submitting your application as a chemist. Let's say you have a PhD degree in chemistry, you have publication, citation, professional membership, everything as a chemist. However, your patent is about something about a computer science thing, which has no connection with your PhD or any other achievement, which is totally different. In that case, it will be very difficult for us to show that as evidence, because in the beginning of the application, we have to pick a title. We have to pick your identity, like you are a extraordinary chemist, and everything else must follow within the perimeter of being a chemist. If something is not within the perimeter, it will be very difficult for us to present as evidence. I hope I make you understand, but if you have more questions, please send us an email. I'll answer it.
Okay, so the next question is more specific. So, would judging at Stevie or Globe Award competition count towards the judging criteria for EB1A?
Yes, yes, it can be anything, but the judgment procedure must be transparent. The purpose of the judgment should be like the actual judgment, not just a showy kind of things. Nowadays the problem is the world is very global. A lot of people, they do it for the purpose of way different thing than what is the intended purpose in the document. So if it is an authentic and true competition, and they invited you for the actual judgment, then yes, those will be qualified as evidence.
Okay. Is there a minimum number of citations required for my scholarly articles?
No, but for EB1A, I really want you to have a lot of citation, because I am claiming that you are an extraordinary person in your field. You are not just a random chemist or random computer science guy. You are an extraordinary person, so you must have a significant number of citation, but there is no minimum number.
Can collaborative research or articles count towards my application?
Yes, but you must have a significant contribution, in not just let's say there are like 5 people published one journal, and your contribution was less than 1 or 2%. You're just barely there. That will not help you. It can be collaborative, but your contribution must be significant.
Okay. How do I prove that my work has a significant impact in my field?
That comes, as I said, letter of recommendation. Your peer, your other people, they will write recommendation letter, and then they will say that you this was your role, this is your actual contribution, and that was really significant. Without your contribution, they would not have completed this research, published this journal. They could not do anything without your contribution. So you need to get recommendation letter from them and mention these things.
Okay. How long does it take to submit the EB1A petition?
For us, usually we take 45 days to 2 months to prepare everything. But if clients are in a way prepared before coming to us, that will shorten the time. Sometimes people need more time because they had no idea about EB1A. They just know that they need a lot of time. It happens like people come to us and say, "Hey, I have an award. I want to apply for EB1A," and I'm like, "Award is just one of the 10 criteria. There are 9 other criteria. Have you met any other criteria?" And they say, "Oh, I have no idea that there are other criteria. I just received the award." So short answer to your question, it depends on the thing, but if you're prepared, it will take shorter time. But please remember that there are 10 criteria, not just 1 or 2.
Okay. Is there a minimum number of recommendation letters from experts required for my EB1A visa application?
There is no minimum, but I usually recommend like a 6, 3 from the people you work with, like your peer, your coworker, your boss, your professor, your supervisor, and 3 from the people you never worked with, like independent recommenders who has no interest saying good thing about you. 6 is kind of like okay, it's like a standard kind of number. It can be more or less. The more better, but not also not more than 10. Like a 10 will make probably USCIS officers bored. So let's say 4 to 10, that would be like the right number.
Okay, so 4 to 10. Okay. Can I submit my EB1A application while living outside of the US?
Yes, you do not need to be in America. You can apply for EB1A from anywhere in the world. Of course, if you live in America, if you work in a corporation in America, or like in Europe, Canada, Japan, Korea, that's better. But technically, you can work from anywhere. You can apply from anywhere in the world.
Okay. Why should I go with EB1A instead of EB2 NIW as a STEM professional?
That's a good question. So, and that's a long discussion. I think I'm not going that deep into this discussion today. So, there are certain countries like India, China, Mexico, and Philippines. They have a long waiting period, almost 10 years for NIW application. So, people from those countries is very good for you to apply for EB1A and get it approved because there's a shorter waiting period. But if you're from other countries, like let's say Nepal or Sri Lanka, and if you apply for EB1A or NIW, still you get shorter period under EB1A, but it's not as short as from India or China. So that's one benefit. Number 2 is EB1A is really, really prestigious. So if you get green card through EB1A, you can tell that, hey, I got the Einstein visa. So it's also a prestigious thing. There are some other benefits. I'm not going that detail because that will require like a long discussion.
Okay, Mr. Mahajan, that's understandable. So, how long does it take to receive a decision from USCIS for an EB-1A petition?
So there are two ways to apply for EB-1A. One is called premium processing. One is regular processing. Under premium processing, people will get result within like 1 month, like 4 to 6 weeks, sometime even earlier. Under regular process, they may take 6 to 8 months, sometimes even longer. And premium process will not only get your result faster, your chance of approval will also go up because under premium processing, you need to pay additional $2,800. And America is a very business country. All of the government agencies, they also want to do business. So since you're paying more, not only you will get result early, your chance of approval will go up. That's why I advise everyone to take premium processing who can afford it. So short answer to your question, usually under premium processing 1 month, and under regular process, usually 8 months.
Okay. What happens if my EB-1A petition is denied? Can I reapply?
Yes, anybody can reapply as many times as they wish. There is no limit. And also there's no negative impact of getting denied under EB-1A. So no, negative thing, and no, you can apply as many times.
Okay, Mr. Mahajan, with that, our Q&A session ends. Thank you so much for answering all the questions, and I would like to thank everyone for participating. Thank you so much, Mr. Mahajan, for your valuable time.
Thank you, and thank you all of our audience. Thank you, Samir, in the back, taking care of everything. And dear audience, I will see you next Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time with some other topic. Until then, have a wonderful day.
Okay, everyone, with this, our Monday live session ends. Thank you, and have a great day.
𝐟𝐨𝐫 Law is one of the top immigration law firms in the USA. The success rate of 𝐟𝐨𝐫 Law is over 99% in fulfilling the dreams of people from other parts of the world to get an American green card. Family-based, employment-based, asylum and green card related services are available under one umbrella at 𝐟𝐨𝐫 Law. For any immigration-related services, contact the address and phone number shown on the screen. You can also mail to info@ravajlaw.com. 𝐟𝐨𝐫 Law is your safe address for any assistance and advice regarding immigration to America.